Good morning, everyone. I am RBG Mortalia, a tourism management student. In today's video, we will tackle about the heritage management system in general and in world heritage. The part of this manual is identified 9 basic characteristics, and the 9 basic characteristics is composed of 3 categories, namely elements, process, and result. Each category contains individual aspect. First category is elements, contains legal framework, institutional framework, and resources. Second category is the process, includes planning, implementation, and monitoring. The last category is the result, contains outcomes, outputs, and improvement of management system. So what is elements? Elements is an aspect or characteristic part of heritage management system that includes legal framework, institutional framework, and resources. Legal framework. Legal framework, it defines what constitutes heritage criteria for its conservation and management, usually by means of legislation. In general, heritage legislation can have many purposes: to regulate, to authorize, to prescribe, to provide funds, to sanction, to grant, to declare, or to restrict. And used for formality or not, it should provide sufficient legal and regulatory tools for the protection of cultural heritage that govern all aspects of the management system for our property, in accordance to the preference of criteria of other factors. In World Heritage, it considers identification, protection, conservation, presentation, and transmission to the future generation. Institutional framework. The organizational needs and decision-making that are necessary for managing cultural heritage has often led to the creation of institutional framework. And the important aspect of this one is that it should provide efficient decision-making and facilitate all the process of management system that achieve this by balancing the needs and continuity with the organizational flexibility necessary to respond to change. The last element is the resources. Resources are the basis of the operational capacity and come in 3 main forms: the human, financial, and intellectual. They enable the institutional framework to carry out the mandate defined by the legal framework. Human resources. As a volunteer, employee, or a worker in this institutional working for the conservation of cultural heritage. Financial resources. Where and how can we get financial resources? What should step do we take to budget the money for the purpose in providing the financial support for cultural heritage? So the last is intellectual resources, the wealth of ideas and the ability for innovation, which highly determines in the future of the firm, and using the human resources capability for research and staff development. Second category is the process. Process is an important factor and is a rule to make a management system function and to deliver best result. This includes planning, implementation, and monitoring. Planning is the most necessary aspect of process, which will be a forming continuous cycle that allows the management system to deliver result. In World Heritage, it must take to harness heritage benefits for society by integrating sustainable development considerations that depends through shared understanding of the property and stakeholders. Implementation. It is influenced by legal and institutional framework, but it is one most dependent than other. It depends on good planning to be effective, which will in turn depend on the effective monitoring. The implementation stage requires a particular readiness to respond to new pressure and opportunities. Monitoring must not be simply the collection of raw data, but a process that involves data analysis. For example, the condition of the site or the effectiveness of the management system. It is where measuring whether the management system is working, whether the state of the cultural heritage is getting better or worse, and whether heritage benefits are being harnessed for society. The last category is result. The three elements and process come together and collectively facilitate the heritage management process that set out the objectives and turn them into action and result, which the result involves the outcomes, outputs, and improvement to management system. The outcomes, it aims in focusing or to check whether the management system is achieving its objective. For example, it can relate directly to a property management, a promoting action, and can contribute to the sustainability of heritage. For the outputs, and accomplish actions and deliver services in response to the outcomes established. It is the result of planned work programs which identify activities that are important for reaching specific management and conservation targets.
And result to improving the management system. It depends on the three elements and three processes that mentioned a while ago, that it should provide necessary support to achieve the outcomes and outputs, and for the development, manageable and effective conservation for cultural heritage. Without the heritage management system, there's no doubt that if it was not implemented, then the most valuable cultural heritage that we have will never last long. Thankfully, due to the concern of kind human being, this system is established for its prosperity and conservation of our world heritage. And that's all. Thank you and goodbye.